Does your dog sneeze all the time? Does that mean there's something wrong? Does he or she have allergies? Let's bark about it. Welcome back to Alpha Paw, your destination for everything dog. I'm Bernie Zilio, and I'm on a mission to answer every doggone question you have ever had about your fur babies. And today, we are talking about why our dogs sneeze and what we should do about it, if anything. Fortunately, we have an expert with us today, Dr. Ross Bernstein. Dr. Ross is a seasoned veterinary professional and pet care expert. He earned his doctorate degree in veterinary medicine at UC Davis School of Veterinary Medicine, and his work has been featured in several industry-leading publications, including the Journal of Veterinary Surgery. He is our go-to vet for everything we want and need to know about our fur babies. So welcome back to Alpha Paw, Dr. Ross.
Hey, Bernie. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks.
Good. Okay. So today's topic, the sneezels. I know you love when I come up with weird names for things, but I am excited to talk to you about this.
How did you come up with sneezels?
I don't know. There's no way that I came up with it. I'm sure there's other people who use the word sneezle when referring to their dog's sneezes, but I personally find it adorable when dogs sneeze. I think everything they do is adorable, but sneezing in particular is beyond. However, it could be cause for concern if our dogs are sneezing excessively. So I do want to talk to you today about when we should and shouldn't be concerned regarding our dogs' sneezels. So I want to talk about some of the most common reasons that our dogs can sneeze. And the first one is just a nasal irritant. So can you kind of walk me through what that could actually be?
If they have some sort of something that irritates their nose, kind of like you or I, if there's a lot of dust in the air, some perfumes, fragrances, sprays, anything that's aerosolized, could even be a lot of dust. And if that's irritating to their nose, sometimes it can even be something allergic and it makes them sneeze. There's a really common thing that dogs do called the reverse sneeze, which is not exactly the same thing as a sneeze, but a lot of pet owners get freaked out by it if they've never seen it before. But basically what it is as an allergic reaction, and it is often to aerosolized irritants.
Wait, I'm so confused. What is a reverse sneeze? Like, what does it look like or sound like or whatever?
It sounds like a sneeze, but it's a little bit different. It's not exactly a sneeze because they're sucking in the air rather than pushing it out. But if it actually is a reverse sneeze, it's completely harmless and it's related to allergies. And there are a ton of good YouTube videos out there where they have examples of dogs doing reverse sneezes and some veterinary professionals explaining what they are, when they can happen. So if you're looking for if my dog is doing this, and it can be very scary sometimes when they're doing it and you have no idea why. So just having an idea of what that looks like, I think could be very helpful for some people.
Interesting. I genuinely had no idea. And I think if I saw my dog do a reverse sneeze and I've never seen it before, I think I would be alarmed. So I'm glad you mentioned that. You also mentioned, which is actually the second most common reason that your dog could be sneezing, is allergies. Now it sounds very similar to human allergies. So can you walk us through a little bit about what allergies in dogs kind of look like?
Yeah, a lot of the time, allergies can present in a couple of different ways. They can be licking their paws, have itchy ears, anal gland issues, itchy skin. If it is related to allergies, it's usually more than just sneezing, but I'm sure it could be with some nasal discharge, ocular eye discharge. Maybe they're itchy in some places and their eyes are red, their skin's red. So it's, again, the total picture of the dog.
Okay, good to know. You're a huge proponent of that. Don't just freak out over one symptom. See what else is going on, bigger picture. Now, the next one. I have seen my dog eat, and I'm amazed that more food particles don't get lodged up his nose. So I assume...
Up his snoot?
Up his snoot. Yes, you're using the proper terminology. I'm so proud of you, Dr. Ross. But in general, is it common for like foreign objects to get stuck up dogs' noses? I imagine that happens at some point.
Unfortunately, it is pretty common. I'm in Southern California. Something that's very common around here is foxtails. It's a type of grass awn, which it's very pointy, kind of like an arrow when it has barbs too. And these little seed things, the grass awns, they get stuck in all sorts of places. They can get stuck in the fur, in between their paw pads, as well as any orifice of the body, including the nose. And if they get stuck in the nose, it often leads to sneezing. That being said, anything can get stuck in those. Just foxtails is a really common one because they are lightweight, they blow around, and they're sharp and barbed, so they don't come out that easily. And if they do go in one nostril, they often have like one-sided sneezing. Their eye can be a little twitchy and sometimes can have bloody or mucus discharge from that nose. But yeah, if something gets stuck in a nose, it for sure can cause sneezing.
Okay, that's kind of scary. So I imagine if there is something stuck up your dog's nose, it's a little bit different from regular sneezing from what you're describing. So I think at that point, the plan is to take your dog to the vet, I would assume.
I would say if you're concerned, you should always take your dog to the vet. Leave it up to your vet to pick out whether or not how concerned you should be. Okay. But sometimes if something gets stuck in your nose, they might not sneeze at all. So just based off the way they're sneezing doesn't necessarily mean whether it's something benign or really bad. So leave that up to the professionals.
All right. Theme of Alpha Paw, leave it up to the professionals. Okay. This next one, I'm so excited because I've heard about it. I hoped it was true. And I think it's true. And I want to talk to you about it. And it's play sneezing. My heart can't take this. So I've personally noticed when I'm playing with my dog, tug of war with a rope, or even just, wrestling around with him, he sneezes a lot. And I've heard that play sneezing is a thing. Like a dog sneezes to let you know they're not being aggressive. They're just playing. They're having fun. Can you please confirm that this is a thing?
Yeah, my dog does that all the time too.
It's so cute.
So this goes along the theme of some other things that we talked about. Know your dog. If they start doing things that are unusual for them, like if they never sneeze when they're playing or doing other things and all of a sudden they start sneezing, maybe that is something to be concerned about. But if every time you play or every time you get home from work or wherever you are and they're greeting you and they're jumping and wagging their tail and then they sneeze too, it's probably a normal thing for them. But if one day you come home and they're just sneezing, then maybe it's a little bit different and you should be concerned about it. But yeah, when dogs get excited, sometimes they blow air out of different places. Sometimes it's their nose.
And sometimes they fart. You're right. Oh my God. It's so cute. They're perfect. Okay. So I want to quickly touch upon some of the less common reasons that dogs could be sneezing, because those were all very common and I'm sure pretty innocuous, like we've discussed, but I want to hear a little bit about the less common ones.
They're probably less common for the average person watching this video, but for me as a veterinary professional, sneezing and especially nasal discharge or mucus or snotty discharge coming out of the nose can definitely be concerning for something that's not good. So if they have any sort of infection, whether it's in the nasal passageway, an upper respiratory infection, if they have a fungal infection, or even if they have cancer in their nose, it can all lead to sneezing or nasal discharge.
Okay. Well, again, like you said, those are not extremely common. You as a vet obviously see that pretty frequently. I'm sure you see everything pretty frequently, but basically just know your dog, know your dog's snoot, get up in there, really know your dog's snoot. And if you guys found this video helpful, go ahead and give us a thumbs up down below. Thank you so much, Dr. Ross. As always, you were incredibly helpful. And if you guys have more questions for Dr. Ross, go ahead and drop those down below as well. Again, I'm Bernie Zilio, and this is Alpha Paw. Be sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single doggone episode, and we'll see you next time.